the house, but I'm not, I think PF will be the one who wants to introduce her better, because obviously, okay, he's back. Obviously, he knows her better. So PF, you were not in when we were welcoming you. So please help me welcome him again as he takes the floor. The Grandmaster himself is already in the house. So I yield the mic to you this afternoon as you welcome our guests properly and start today's session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Okay. We can.
Yes.
So I have to remember that I could join on my phone. I don't know what's happening. It's just a reminder that I'm still in Nigeria. So I'm so sorry. The network kicked me out, and up to now the network is not back. But I have been able to log in on my phone, and then as soon as the one on my laptop responds, I'll join. Okay, so we have someone who is so amazing in the house today. Is someone I respect. It's someone that how she manages to do many of the things she does is something I would never know. But Dayton, it's just amazing. I mean, she's an amazing soul. She's someone that, I mean, I don't want to read her bio because I think it didn't do justice to who she really is. It talked a lot about her qualification, but sometimes the bio does not talk about who the person is. I'm not sure I know anyone who does a bit of going out of our way to network with the movers and shakers, with the who is who than Dayton. And of course, Dayton manages some of the biggest buildings and real estates across Ikoyi axis. I always say to her that she's the owner of Ikoyi. Okay, but she's also the head of our cooperative in House of Saviors. So House of Saviors, please make welcome Adetun Otebola. Please, let's go to the chat room and welcome her. And meanwhile, if you have joined the meeting and your friends are not here, please kindly share with them, let them join the meeting because this promises to be an amazing, amazing session. Okay, yeah. Tom, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Yeah, how's your week been?
Oh, very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, so today we're looking at this particular month in House of Saviors, we're doing a dimension of various sectors that hold big opportunities for our people. And we're starting with the only estate that is real, and there is no other person than to talk about that than you, because that's where you have played all your life. I think it's been 25 years, if I'm not making a mistake, and
30 years.
Okay, 30 years. And you've been there, done that, been there, and you are just a big madam in that sector. Okay. So we are going to put you on the hot spot because people's hands have been burnt, right? But before I get in there, I'd just like to know on behalf of the people, I mean, if you have to summarize what real estate sector is and why do people really, really need to play in the real estate sector, what will be your response to that question?
Okay, thank you very much. So real estate in itself is anything that is on land, interest, physical building, anything. And there's everybody in the world, the real earth is really the earth. That's, I saw that quote somewhere. So basically all of us live on real estate, whether, land or your house is offshore, anywhere in the world, you cannot, one of the three greatest need of mankind, apart from food, we have to live in a house. It protects, and of course, it's the store of wealth. So that's one reason why, most people need to live in real estate. And one of the greatest problems we have as elitists is that we have a problem I called I'm trying to, I have a problem I call them analysis paralysis. Keep thinking it and then we don't get to do what we need to do. So why should anybody invest in real estate? Obviously, it's a store of wealth, it's an edge against inflation, it's a source of collateral anywhere in the world when you want to borrow for whatever reason. If you have a real estate, you are sure a good bride. Of course, people do it for many reasons, for prestigious reasons. I own these houses. As popular as Donald Trump is for both the negatives and the positives, one of the things that made him as a person is real estate. And I'll encourage us to go and read this, watch this video by Brian Tracy, The Secret of Self-Made Millionaires. You'll find out that most millionaires, you cannot tell their history without real estate being their major source of, growth to, a path to wealth. So I hope I answered that question already.
Yeah, you answered the question perfectly. Okay, now, for some time, because I obviously spent a lot of my time in Lagos over the years. I know that one of the things that has happened is that people's hands have been burnt when it comes to real estate. In fact, at some point, the selling point in Lagos was, your property must be close to Dangote Refinery. Even the property that is close to Ore is always close to Dangote Refinery. They will say it's 5 minutes from Dangote until you now decide to say, okay, take me to the property. Then you start entering a bush. In fact, in some cases, you may be close to Cotonou, but they will say, okay, it's still somewhere there, it's somewhere there. Right. We want to know what are the common mistakes you think people make in their bid to play in the real estate sector, and how can people avoid these mistakes?
Okay, so knowledge is key. Real estate is like any other. When you want to make an investment, or even investments in as simple, the video we watch now talked about simplicity, how we need to keep it simple to get things done when you are too clogged. So one of the things that we need to do when making any major investment, real estate is major, is to ask the right questions. The fact that real estate is a store of wealth doesn't mean you should do it with your eyes closed. You need to ask the right questions. What title does the property have? Title is actually key. Even if you've taken possession and somebody else has the right title, you're just, the person can take over both what you've put on the land and the land itself. Now then, of course, a lot of people don't want to go through professionals. And I'm not saying it because I'm an SM valuer, but when you do things yourself, sometimes, you will get your hands burnt. One of the major reasons in that area that people got their hands burnt was because of Omonile. And Lagos State has taken steps to curb that now, because what land is, what oil is to Nigeria is what land is to Lagos State. So there is a department in Lagos State's Ministry of Housing now lands where Omoniles are dealt with, and there's also a law. So that has been taken care of. So when you are making your investment, you need to ask about the title. Secondly is the issue of location. If you want to invest in relocation all over the world, one major key factor, or there are 3 major key factors to real estate appreciation. Number 1 is location, number 2 is location, number 3 is location. You have to find out. Now, location, one of the things you also need to do is to, you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. Because it's a capital investment, you have to, look at the parameters in the area you want to buy from. So, for example, people have bought in the Dangote Refinery for years, but you can see the amount of investment and activity that is going on there. So the first mover advantage, the people that first took advantage, are going to be the ones earning now.
Okay. Now you talked about title, getting the right title, that if you buy a land and someone else get the right title, the person can take possession of your land. Do you want to speak a little bit more on the title? Because I know people bought the land and all they got was the receipt. I know people bought the land and all they got was survey. I think they got a survey and with receipts. Now, knowing fully well that in Lagos, for example, they would say that the governor is not signing any C of O anymore, or maybe the process is longer. What are the titles that you think people are buying land or people are buying houses should have?
Okay, so the best title, if you're looking at the Lagos, Nigeria situation or Nigeria general, the best title you can have on land is a certificate of occupancy. So before 1978, the people that first settled in a particular location owned land. That's why you see that families, were able to lay claim to certain portions of land. But after the Land Use Act, so it is that for any transaction to occur in Lagos State, the governor of the governor of the state has to consent to that transaction. So that's why you start hearing things like consent, registering your title in the land registry. Now, so when the first person gets a C of O on land, two people cannot have a C of O on one land. Only one person can have a C of O. And that C of O has a reversionary interest. You can only get 99 years, less 1 day. So when it is 99 years, you have to go back to the government to reassign that particular land to you. Now, in between the 99 years, if you now choose to pass on your title, the expired title, to another person, there will be a deed of assignment between you and the person you are passing on the title to. Now, when you pass on that title, you must go back to Lagos State government for the governor to consent to that transaction. So in buying any property, you need to go to the land registry to check the authenticity of that property. Now, beyond the Lagos State government, there are also housing corporations. You have LSDPC, you have the Ministry of Housing. They usually give what you call letters of allocation, and eventually that letter of allocation you can also go back to the Lagos government to do a consent on those kind of allocations. So beyond the C of Os, there are C of Os, there are letters of allocation, but most people don't want to pay the taxes. So they usually try to find a way around it and not register their title. But as long as the very first title is registered, it's a good one. But if you bought from somebody that has a C of O and you don't register your title, what that means is that forever and ever, the person that is in the land registry is deemed to own the land. So if you want to transfer your title, for example, you have to go back to the person that sold to you to reassign to the next person. You don't have the right to assign that title. You may be in possession, but you cannot assign your title as long as you don't register it in the land registry. Lagos State has also gone further to make C of Os, e-C of Os now. So gone are those days where you wait for a very long time to get your title registered. They are easier. They're making them e-C of Os now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now, when you say there are e-C of O, how long does that take? Because I know, for example, that there are states in Nigeria, where people want to buy and they will say that the governor does not sign C of O, right? And sometimes the process becomes very expensive. So a land that you go for 5 million with C of O now becomes 15 to 17, 20 million there. But how easy is this getting of some C of O?
Okay, it is easy and it's not that straightforward, really. It's supposed to take maybe 30 to 60 days, depending on how, we still have, that, in our system, corruption is still part of it. So, but the point is, you should even make an effort. There are statutory fees you need to pay. I don't think that if you bought a property for 60 million, you cannot use 50 million to register it. There are basic statutory fees that you must pay, and they don't change from title to title. Now, with what happened with the last election, the government is being more careful and more responsive in doing things. People are getting sacked for not doing what they have to do. So, like I said, one of the problems we have is knowledge, paralysis. You overanalyze things until you get there and you see that it's not as difficult as you think it is. When you buy a property, please ensure that you register your title. You'll be penny wise, pound foolish not to do so. Because the next time you need to give out, you are selling, you have to go back to the person that sold to you. Now, if you don't do that, they will do what we call double consent. You have to register yours pari passu the person that has not bought from you. So no matter how you want to overanalyze and overthink it, it's better for you to register your title. That gives you confidence in your ownership. It makes you really the proper owner of the land and everything on it.
Thank you very much, Tom. So I'll drill it down a little bit. You talk about elites do overanalysis paralysis.
Yeah, I'm listening. Hello, can you hear me? Wow.
Yes, I can hear you.
We
Okay,
can't.
so maybe
It's Prince that is up.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it's Pierre that is up.
Okay, it's a network issue. He's going to say because he's in Nigeria now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I think he posted the questions to me a few minutes ago. So let me get out what the next question is to save our time so that at least we can be,
Thank you for that.
I think he sent me, yeah, I'm trying to get it up, please. Thank you. Okay, so how can someone practically start a real estate journey in the face of rising costs? In the face of rising costs of buildings in Lagos? That's the next question I think he wants to ask me. Can I go on with the question?
Sorry, I hope you heard the question.
Okay, he's
Sorry,
back.
network again came up and kicked me out again. Yeah, did you hear the question?
No, sir, no, I didn't hear it.
Okay, so the question is, in summary, is how can someone practically start a real estate journey in the face of rising cost of buildings in Lagos? So someone who is earning $500,000 or 200,000, says, where's the hope when an average building costs like 100 million in Lekki axis, maybe 250 million in some other parts of Lagos? Where can that person start from? What would be your recommendation?
Okay, my recommendation is to start from where you can afford. Real estate is not going to get cheaper anywhere in the world. It's going to, as the population is growing, people are going to it's not going to get cheaper. Now, so when I say that one of our problems as elites is analysis, data analysis, is that most of us, for example, we live on the island and we keep thinking, until I get money to buy property on the island, I'm not going to do anything. You are shooting yourself in the foot because it's not going to get cheaper, okay? So let me examine some ways of investing in real estate, because one of our problems, PF, you're always saying, is that in Africa, we like to go solo. Mm-hmm. There's what you call real estate investment trust, REITs, real estate investment trusts. Now, so what that means is that there are companies that buy real estate as institutional investors, and then people can buy into that, just like shares. REIT is usually quoted in the stock exchange. So if you have 250,000 and you think it can amount to much, you can start there. That means you co-own of a large chunk of real estate, and some people are managing it like investment managers, okay? Another thing you could do is joint venture. That sounds really big, but somebody yesterday, for example, was asking me, they have land here, but they don't have money. I say they should do a joint venture. Somebody else has money, and it can't, it can't buy land and build at the same time. So two people can come together and get that done. There's also what we call land banking. People buy land, large portions of land, in areas like the Dangote Refinery we're talking about. And somebody posted something, sorry, I saw something in the chat room. So we have, land banking in areas like Ibejuleki, and then people buy land in chunks. So people invest in it and get interest yearly for at least having a portion of that. Now, the other thing that you can start from is what you call off-plan investment opportunities. And I want to dwell on that a bit. Now, so the way it happens, off-plan is one major way you can actually make money as an individual. And I'll give practical examples. So I have a young man who I'm doing this. I recognize the fact that a lot of Nigerians in diaspora and here have gotten their hands burnt trying to buy real estate. So I did a bit of a focus on the ones in diaspora. The reason is because they are back out there working, slaving, working out there, slaving to get things done. They send money to family and friends and they get scammed. So we thought about that and wrote a product paper. We're doing it. I'm not trying to market myself. I'm trying to drive.
Please market your service out.
We now wrote a product paper that we're doing with Sterling Bank, and it's called Home Ownership Made Easy for Nigerians in Diaspora. Now, what that means is you're not necessarily sending your money to family and friends. We have profiled a number of, developers that we consider, trustworthy, and people can put their money right there. So by so doing, we're also, with PF now, with House of Saviors, there's also what we call a cooperative. And one of the things we're going to do in that cooperative is actually a multipurpose cooperative, is real estate, where people will come together, bring their money. So as a group, will own real estate. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, anyhow you look at it, there are so many opportunities here and there. Now, another thing so with off-plan, sorry, I was trying to get to the off-plan thing. So there was a gentleman, a woman that had wanted to buy real estate from us. She now introduced her nephew. And the young man bought into a scheme in 2002, and the products was selling them for 23.5 million. Now, he paid in installment. He finished paying maybe last year, December. Now that product has gone up to 30 million. Another person bought 2 of a flat in Lekki Phase 1. He bought it about 2 years ago. His mom handed him over to me that I should mentor him in real estate. So he works in one of the oil and gas companies. I made him pay 60 million naira. The same property has not been finished, but is now going for 120 million. In that same scheme, another person bought 2. He has sold 1 and started to develop another land he has, and he still has 1. So for God's sake, in off-plan investments, you can actually make your money before the end of the investment. You can put it out and go elsewhere. It's like when you're abroad, there's something we call about removing equity from your real estate. So there's so many things you can do. My advice is, don't be an onlooker. Start to do something with your money. Another thing I want to tell us is that debt is an asset. Most of us say, I don't want to borrow. I cannot, I'm averse to borrowing. But it depends on what you're borrowing for. Some of those people that I'm describing to you actually took money from their cooperative and they were able to invest in real estate. They've made their money. They can return the money of the cooperative and, nothing happens. I'll give an example. When you are people that live in the diaspora, in developed countries, mortgage and rental, the difference is going to be a few dollars. If you maybe, for example, somebody buys an asset, his mortgage is $1,400 monthly. The person paying rent is going to be paying about $1,800. So people do all kinds of things, So I am a firm believer that instead of you renting, you should always make an effort to buy. In Nigeria today, for example, there are rent-to-own assets that you can have. For example, I'm doing one with Sterling Bank. We're supposed to pay back, it's a flat in Lekki Phase 1. We have to pay back on that asset in 10 years. I'm not living there. There's a tenant there. I've done 2 years now. But I bought the property for 42 million in October 2021. The property is now about 52 million naira. And I'm paying, it's a performing mortgage. But my plan is that before the end of 10 years, I'm going to get out of that and it becomes mine. There is, National Housing Fund in Nigeria. As a Nigerian, as long as you contribute to that national purse, you are entitled to, it used to be 50 million, it was just raised to 50 million naira. 50 million naira with interest to pay on the loan, and you can pay it up by the age of 60. So a lot of us just sit down, we're making our landlords fat. You drive a Range, you drive a Lexus, that you're going to use 80 million naira now to fuel every time you fill your tank, and your landlord is laughing to the bank. Please stop doing that. Thank you.
Wow. Please, can we appreciate what you are getting for free? Oh my God. It's what some people, people don't know these things and they've lost so much. Thank you very much. Now, you touched a little bit on my next question, and I'd like to go there. People outside Nigeria struggle to, invest here. because of trust. Now, I mean, and I'll tell you for free, many people who call themselves real estate people are mere marketers. They have sweet mouths. They will sweet talk you, bring 20 million. We will, by the time you show up, you realize that there is nothing on ground. Bring this, da, 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 da. They won't tell you the other cost, other amounts you have to pay. And eventually, by the time they collect your money, you know, they begin to feed fat. Now, what are the ways that people in the diaspora can mitigate scammers, right? I know that you have something with Sterling Bank, and I want you to talk about it, you know, because people are really, really confused right now to say, I mean, I have friends in the diaspora who have vowed never to invest in Nigeria anymore, you know, because of their experience. Now, how can they mitigate, you know, such scammers and put their mind at rest? Because we have on this call people who live outside Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much. So one thing that I'm passionate about is creating wealth for people through real estate investment opportunities. Now, so I'm not going to say it's about me, but I can tell you for free. Like I did a study, just I was thinking about this event, and I looked at some. I read a review that even International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, between 2018 and 2020. Nigeria real estate portfolio, the return on investment for Nigeria was 16%, while that of UK and US was about 6 to 7%. Canada was 10%. And Canada's zone is because there's a lot of migration going on. Every country, anyway, from all over the world, the third world countries are migrating all over. So, of course, everybody needs real estate. Now, for Nigeria, for Nigerians in diaspora, one of the things I would advise you sincerely is that do your real estate business as business. Don't do it as a family or friend thing, okay? And so one of the ways that we decided to do that is that with Sterling Bank, what we are saying is there's an app called Switch by Sterling. When you open your account with that app, you don't need to be in Nigeria to do that. We do it online for you. And I'm licensed to do that. When you open your account with the bank, so you're in control of how your monies go, you can pay for anything in Nigeria apart from real estate. Now, our own assignment as an organization is to ensure that whichever property you bought has the right title, is well located. The finishes is what they are telling you, they are giving you. They are not taking pictures and telling you what is not. So we help you, and we also advise you on the way to go. Now, not only that, we don't leave you like an unborn, a baby. You can imagine a woman that carried pregnancy for 9 months, and immediately she delivers, where she says, thank God, and she goes. Obviously, the child will die. So we don't leave you with buying property alone. We also go as far as helping you to let the property if you want to, if there's for facilities management, and so on and so forth. So another thing that happens to people that, apart from just buying, they are in the hands of the wrong people. So if you want to choose a realtor in Nigeria, please ensure that the person is not a marketer, like PF said. There are worthy associations that people belong to that at least if they go wrong, you can go to the association for a recourse. Nigerian Institute of Estate Surveyors and Valuers, you have, that's the highest of them all really in terms of realtors in Nigeria. A lot of people wake up and say they are real estate agents, but what's their track record? So you need to check the track record of who is giving this to buy. You need to check your title. And of course, what we're saying in essence is you don't have to come all the way to Nigeria to buy. For us to be doing it in conjunction with the bank, we are seeking credibility. We want openness for you to be able to buy what you need to buy. So estate surveyors and valuers are your best bets in terms of making your decisions. And of course, don't be emotional about it. Be careful where your money goes. Check out the location, the title, the finishes, and so on and so forth.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it means that people in the diaspora can literally open that account from wherever they are, and the sterling, between the sterling and the people involved, they are sure that their assets are safe. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And of course, the developers as well, we profile them. We don't just allow you to buy from just any developer. Now, if on your own, you discover the property you want to buy, the onus is on us to go and do a due diligence on that one, you know. So we'll only allow you to release your funds as at when due. No fake pictures, you know, you do what you need to do. I will check the title for you and ensure. So we have a UK office that we're trying to get running, so that it won't be just us talking here. We'll have associates there, and then even in Canada as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tom. I'll digress a little bit and come back to real estate. One thing I have seen you do so well. Okay, so someone is asking a question. Let me go to another. Okay, people are. Thank you, ma. Please, how does one contribute to the NHF? Again, can you take the NHF loan to offset an existing mortgage? That's from Amala.
Okay, so NHF does not like to deal with individuals, as it were. They prefer people that maybe in colonies, like you work in an organization and all that. But I'm self-employed. I have a form. I have an account. So for me, I don't take no for an answer. The office is on Mama Kantangura House. You can go there yourself, but you can also engage the services of people like us to lead you to do that. Yes, you can take that mortgage to offset another one. Now, remember that I said that the maximum you can get is 50 million. There is even renovation loan. If you have a house and you need to renovate, it's like flipping. National Housing Fund, they're able to give, Federal Mortgage Bank is able to give it to you. Most people don't know that. The only thing they are slow in giving is development funding, but that can be accessed by a developer who already has, you know, off-takers. Now, in order not to digress, so National Housing Fund takes a process, maybe 10, 12 to 18 months. So if you found something you want to buy, you can at least make your equity contribution and begin to take the mortgage. When your National Housing Fund comes out, you can refinance it with your National Housing Fund. So technically, you take yourself out of a commercial loan and replace it with the National Housing Fund loan. So that's possible, man. So if your organization, there are a lot of people contribute National Housing Fund in organizations. I've seen people telling me they work in very, you know, blue chip organizations, and they were deducting their money every year. And they left the service and never asked for their money. I don't know why Nigerians do that to ourselves. We don't read. So if your organization has been deducting your money, go and meet your HR and ask them, how much have you done with my money? Can I now go on and at least access it myself? So I think I've answered your question, man.
Yes. Okay, so there's another question. Do people in diaspora have access to it?
We're almost there. The NHF, the Federal Mortgage Bank, is trying to do that, and I think we're almost at that point where Nigerians in diaspora can access it. They're working at that seriously.
Okay. Okay, so I digress a little bit. One of the things I know that you do so well is networking, right? And a lot of people, and I know networking opens a lot of doors, right? Many people would say things like, I love keeping to myself. I love keeping to myself. I know I have seen you practically get real estate deals. I mean, you and I still went somewhere last week. And while I was talking to someone you were introducing me to, you were clicking a real estate deal just by joining a club. You know, I want you to speak to the need for networking, because you hear people say, I'm an introvert. I don't know, I like to stay in my own corner. It is God that will build house for me. You know, can you talk a little bit about why people need to network and what networking can do?
Okay, thank you very much. So networking is, I'm trying to put it in the right, is the oxygen you need to succeed. That's the truth. Because you see, the more people you know, the more successful you are. And then information is very key. Now, I'll narrow it down to this. I was listening to Brian Tracy yesterday, and he said something about the power of networking. That he used to go to a lot of conferences, and he remembers that there was a dentist he used to see. And he noticed that after some time, it was like the dentist just blew. It was like his network just, and he was trying to understand how that happened. And the guy said that he went for one particular networking event somewhere outside the zone of his country. And there was a particular technology that he heard about, and he went home and developed it. And that was the beginning of his I'm trying to read right. So that was the beginning of his establishment. That was the beginning of his wealth creation. So one that I know is breakthrough. That's the word. One thing that I know about networking is that it cannot be overemphasized. If you don't network, you are like a man in the dark. You know, you're in a dark room, all the lights are off. You're winking in the dark. Nobody knows what you're doing. I would also tie networking to about the power of feedbacks and referrals. You know, in my networking event, when I see people, entrepreneurs like me, I stand up for them and tell them, well, I saw that you did this, you could have done it this other way. And that has brought a lot of, you know, businesses for me as well. I'll also say for those of us that, I mean, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. How do you go out in life without networking? It's not possible. You know, I mean, it's not. I'll give an example now. For example, I'll give you a practical, something that just happened to me in recent times. PF knows a little about it. I went to Queen's College and we left school about 37 years ago. So one of my friends I haven't seen for that long suddenly calls me about 3 weeks ago, and she was asking me she lives in Canada. She was asking me about some businesses, some ideas. And within 15 minutes, I was able to connect her to people that were answers to her question. Now, how am I able to do that? Is the power of networking. Now, so after some days, she kept on calling me. I mean, if we don't talk in a day, she's like, "So are you okay? I want to be sure you're good," because of the kind of value I was able to give. Now, so she called, well, after about 2 weeks, I called her and I said, "Why did you call me in particular?" And she told me that she was praying and that God told her that, I mean, she was praying and asking God that I need somebody that has business acumen and, you know, can solve certain issues for me. And that my picture kept coming to her mind. It was about the time of my birthday. And I had done some posts how I was dancing. My office people were celebrating me. And she was thinking it was because she was my birthday. And she said for the next 1 week, my picture kept coming to her face. And that she didn't have any regret that she called me. And that brought tears to my eyes. The reason is because God knows that the effort, the amount of money I invest in networking sometimes is not even expensive. For example, I went for PTA in my children's school 2-3 days ago, and then they said we should make comments, and I raised up my mind and I made my comments honestly. And then they said closing prayer, people didn't want to pray, and I just took the microphone and I prayed. That singular act, 2 parents came to me and said, "Please, we like the way you pray. We have this prayer network, one thing," and I began to give them my cards. So networking is just the energy you need to live. You cannot do business. Even I was on a call with some people from Russia. One was from America, one was from Russia. And then one of them was saying he doesn't want to come to Nigeria. He's going to die if he comes. And I gave them some useful information about hospitals I go to. And that hospital, they will remember me because I went there very ill. In fact, they carried me in on a wheelchair. But by the time I was leaving that hospital, I connected him to some people that I knew that could improve their business. So if they go there and they mention my name, you understand, they may almost get a freemium. I'm not boasting, but that's the way it works. It brings a lot of open doors, and you know, you can't just do life without it.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. So now let me backtrack a little bit to something you talked about, which is cooperative. And I mean, incidentally, you are also the head of House of Saviors Cooperative. So House of Saviors, this is the head of your cooperative. We are waiting for them to kickstart. Me now, my money is somewhere. I'm saving it. I don't know. In fact, see, Tona, people are asking me for your number. They are sending me messages. I can see their messages already. You know, so how can people leverage cooperative to create wealth? You know, a lot of people don't understand, and also you don't blame them. People have gotten involved. In fact, there was one ajo that people were doing that they say the person collected their ajo, the person collecting their ajo used their money to japa, you know, and I don't know how people do those kind of things, right? I mean, you render people, you know, powerless, and you render them homeless because you wanted to travel abroad. I don't know how people do that. But can you speak to cooperative, because I honestly believe that once someone clocks 40, right, it's better to co-invest than to go alone. Because if you
Yes,
lose,
absolutely.
if you lose 100 million when you are in your 20s, it will not shake you as much as losing 100 million when you are 50, right? So can you speak to what exactly does cooperative, what does it do? What does it mean? And why should people be part of cooperative?
Okay, so interestingly, I like to do things properly. PF is going to laugh at this now. I'm actually doing a professional diploma in cooperative management, and it's
Hey,
actually doing.
oh, how many courses will you do?
Okay, so what cooperative does, what a cooperative does is just a group of people coming together with common goals and, just bothering about the welfare of one another. So cooperative is usually a democratic government where people come together. There are certain rules that bind them together. One of the major advantages of doing things as a cooperative, that is legally, is that your profit is not profit, it's known as a surplus, and it is not taxable, okay? And so there's so many things that you can get from doing that. Now, I'll give you a very simple example. A lot of us know WAMCO that does milk in Nigeria, WAMCO Caprina. Do you know it was started by a cooperative? Cooperative actually started due to industrial revolution in UK in the 70s. People were very, just like what is going on all over the world now. There is a meltdown, people are crying, and fuel scarcity or fuel increase subsidy has been removed. I want to encourage us here in this room, as many as are hearing me. I hope you are not one of those that are crying. The subsidy, whatever, and they are almost killing us. As far as I'm concerned, that same energy, why don't you look for things that you can invest in and how to better your income? So what cooperative does is what you cannot do as a single person. It brings a lot of us come together, shared risk, common, agenda, and then we share both the risk and the surplus. So I went to Lagos Business School. I'm an alumni. I did a course in owner management program in 2004. And in my class, for a very long time, we actually do what you call a job contribution every month. I picked my contribution at about 3 days ago. We do it every 6 months. It expires every 6 months, and we increase the money. Guess what I did with my money? I used it to pay back my mortgage. So money is like a spirit. It comes into your hands. But if you don't have an investment culture, the money will be going where you don't know. So I would encourage us, let's have a savings culture, and that we can do powerfully with a cooperative. So yes, one of the reasons why we have stayed long in starting our cooperative for House of Saviors is that I'm trying to do it properly. Our bylaws will be ready this coming week. And when the bylaws are ready, we will meet as executives. The beauty of cooperatives is that you have management, you have the executives who are the managers, but you also have advisory committee. So it's a democratic thing. If you choose me as you have chosen me as your chairperson now, if I'm not doing things the way you want me to do, you have a right to remove me by democracy in our annual general meeting. I'm conscious of that fact. And then the advisory board also has the right to oversee and ensure that things are done. We have auditors amongst us who are going to audit the accounts as well. But we're trying to do it properly. So immediately we lay the right foundation, we're going to move faster. So cooperatives is, you can start, even my children, I actually have an account for them. I pay them salary every month. So their money is being saved. When I get to a point where I think the money can be moved to an investment, I certainly will move it for them. So I want to encourage us, have a savings culture. But if you save your money in the bank, you're wasting time. Invest your money. There is no amount of interest anywhere in what they will give you now that will make sense. So please don't put money in the bank. Invest your money and look for the right cooperative to invest into. House of Saviors is one of them.
Thank you. Someone is asking, what are your thoughts on online financial communities? How does one vet them?
Auntie Stephanie, big question. I we need to be careful. I'm a risk taker. So I remember that I used to have a catering company. I did catering for a bit.
Hey, Yala Joe, Yala Joe.
I did catering for a bit. So I was now trying to, when I saw the way inflation was going with food and all that, I decided to migrate it to event planning. So I decided to do a course in event planning. So I saw this online course, the lady was very impressive in her speech and everything. And she was like, to take us to the next level, we needed to pay 45,000 naira. And immediately I paid the money because I was hungry for knowledge. I started calling the number, they never returned my call. So you have to be very careful how, do your due diligence before you part with your money. Honestly, all this online thing, I would rather that, at least in our own space around here, you need to be extra careful.
Okay, it's been a long
I saw a comment. Sorry, I want to comment on the Mrs. Amala said, "For wants to finish the money." What I would say is this: don't depend on one source of income now. It's not a luxury. We cannot afford to live on one source of income. I manage a group of companies, and that's because, when you solve people's problems, you'll be wealthy. So beyond doing your regular job, especially for those of us that are 9 to 5s, let's look for other opportunities to think of other ways you can solve people's problems, and you will have money. Another thing that the fuel price has done is that people in Nigeria are probably more disciplined about their movements, the roads will be freer. People will get more creative in the way they move around.
Thank you very much for that counsel. Okay, let's see. Any question from the audience before I ask my final question? Any question from the audience before I ask my final question? Okay, but Tom, you have really, I've learned a lot today. I can't wait for the cooperative to kick off. I'll just be giving you my money, at least that saves me or any kind of stress. Anyway,
okay. Cooperative,
someone is saying, how can they contact you? Their website, email address, please, consultation is not free. I'm the one collecting the money on our behalf. Okay, how can realtors reach you, ma? Okay, so you have a WhatsApp number.
Set up an affiliate of Network Matter.
Sorry? So are you there?
I said I'm setting up at yes, I am.
Okay.
We're setting up a network of affiliates, real estate marketers in our organization, just getting people to do things properly, So if you do reach out to me, I'll introduce you to the people in our office. We intend to groom people to learn to do real estate properly, as marketers, as investors, whatever. There's different classes and categories. Well, so we would intend to help people to do things well.
Okay, so you can reach out to her. By association, I'm part of Tom's company anyways. I'm a consultant. It's just that they have not been paying me. Okay, that's a joke. Tom pays very well. Okay, what is your advice on where one can look to bring various parties together for JVs? I think this person is an architect.
Yeah, I saw the question. Okay, so JVs, the area should be lucrative enough. If somebody has land and another person wants to bring their money, that person is like a venture capitalist that wants to bring his money and get out of it as soon as possible. So the area must be good enough in terms of return on investment. So you look for areas that are selling fast, at least have the potential to grow, not just anywhere. That would be my first advice on that one. Then the design should be right and functional. The prices should be free, so that you can quickly get it off the market. And then the room sizes, architects, they should be big enough, there should be ventilation.
Okay. My final question will be, what's your take on real estate investments outside of Lagos and beyond Nigeria? So I've seen people say, oh, come and invest in Ghana. People talk about Rwanda. People talk about Dubai. In fact, I have friends who, there used to be one company, say Emiways or something, that used to say people should come and invest in Dubai. People will buy it. They don't know that they bought into timeshare. And a lot of people lost money big time that way. Do you recommend for people to invest outside their country or in a country that, people are, because again, people are marketing, bring your money to, I remember that there were some fractional property opportunity in South Africa. I don't know what became of it. What would be your advice for people who maybe want to play outside the shores of Africa? What should we look out for?
Okay, so thank you. I'll start with the Nigerian market and I'll move over to you. So outside Lagos, people invest for different reasons. Like I said, somebody may be in the diaspora and say, look, my mother suffered so much for me, I want to buy her property. At least let it be that in her lifetime, she lived in her own home and she did not end up being a tenant, So whatever the case may be, if you're doing an investment, always think about how you can get your return back. So for example, some people will build in the East, build a mansion and just make a social or political statements. There's no sense in it because the yield on it is not making sense. So you can make it, if you must, don't make it too loud. A client reached out to me from the US. He has a place in Onitsha and he wanted to build. And I told him very clearly, I don't build in the East, but I was able to get someone who gave me expert opinion. And the person told me, he's an Igbo man. I said, let that man just fence that place. It's not safe to go there now. So please make inquiries from people that will honestly tell you the truth. Not from family members that will tell you, just come and build, brother. Everybody else, even the little boy that you trained, has now become a kingpin. So please do it as business. Don't go emotional about real estate. Okay. Now, outside the shores of Nigeria, well, I am involved in some real estate investments in Dubai. And, you need to, the market could be very, I'm trying to use the right word now. It's not a bad place to invest, but it's a matter of time and chance. You need to know when to get in and you need to know when to get out. Now, if you were to invest in Dubai, for example, don't buy villas, buy condos or buy, condos and, studio apartments, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms are the most. Don't buy villas. The simple reason is because a lot of people they are foreigners in Dubai. They do business and they go. So it's easier for them to rent. So of course, in getting return on your investment, rental income and all that, condos, 1 bedroom, some 1 bedrooms even pass for 2 bedrooms, depending on the size of what you're buying. And then Dubai is also a safe place for people that are considered to be, I'm not encouraging it, but people that do money laundry, they don't care where your money is coming from. But if you come in there, you can do anything you want to do. There are no taxes, that is where some people also use it to get citizenship. If you spend up to $1 million, you can get, a 10-year residence permit in Dubai. So I know people but the people that I really do business with, the owner of that business builds for palaces. So his investment, the things he built, they're actually very solid. In fact, the day I went to their factory, they were telling me that they invited 250 beds. In my mind, I was thinking, how did they invite the beds? Did they write letters? But they made it so conducive that the 250 beds, they studied their natural habitats and made that environment conducive. And so the birds were able to come from time to time. I was amazed. And so they do really good work there. That I would say. Now, South Africa, I think about 10, 15 years ago, I went to South Africa and then we were to invest. One thing I found out that I wasn't given the opportunity because I'm self-employed, but a friend of mine that did that investment, when he wanted to take his money out, the taxation was heavy. So that really ate into whatever he made. So for every single country, you need to study their laws in making your choice, okay? Canada right now, there's a deficit in housing, so they've banned Nigerians from owning houses because they saw the rates at which we were going there. But I think they're trying to change that now. So in the next couple of years, Ghana is a room, there's a lot of room for growth. I encourage parents that if you have children there that are mature, don't rent for them, buy a house and let them be, they're a part of the home should pay for the mortgage. Okay. And so different things for different folks. I mean, I have properties for sale in Qatar, I have in Saudi Arabia, I have in I have in Gambia, I have in Sierra Leone. So I've done real estate business in Ghana as well. So different countries have different laws that they go. So you need to know the laws of the country before you invest.
I mean, I won't let you go until I noticed a pattern about you, and the pattern is, I mean, sometimes we're talking and you are writing like 3 exams simultaneously. It looks like you have developed the capacity for, your highest budget to me looks like personal development budget. And I know it's your quest to do things right. You hate to do things anyhow. I mean, if you have even done family life certification, you have now you alone, you have done catering, you have done this, you have done GNL, there's nothing you have not done. Right? Why? What drives you, and why do you pay so much? I know meetings that you have had to literally pay, thousands of dollars to attend. Why? What drives you, and why do you have? Because some people just say, just pray and trust God. Whatever God will send your way will send you. What drives you?
Okay, so I recognize the fact that every 5 years, there's a paradigm shift in technology world. So you can't use old patterns to win in the new world. You need to constantly learn new skills, learn new ways of doing things. Now, for me, I just love to do things properly, like you said. So I always, when there are questions boggling my mind, I want to know why this is so. Then I also remember that I have a doctor, a lot of us who know him, Dr. Ajeni Fuja. He died at 94, about 3 weeks ago, about a month ago. He's been my family doctor for forever. And I remember that I used to tell him that, why are you not sitting? Why are you still working? Because he worked till the day before he died. And he told me that, as you grow older, you probably will have dementia if you're very active and you don't keep your brain active. So apart from that, there's a lot of networking going on now. I belong to a lot of associations. So when I have conversations with people, I'm able to hold intelligent conversations because I know a bit of what everybody's doing. So I think it's the spirit of an entrepreneur. I've had cases whereby I go to people and I recognize, I see things, they're asking me questions and I begin to give them business ideas and they're telling me, come and be our board member. And I'm like, no, I was just trying to tell you what it is. So I think it's a skill in itself. If you look at the Bible says that when Christ ascended on high, he gave gifts to men. Some the gifts, administration is a gift, marketing is a gift, counseling is a gift. So and that gifting that God gives to each one and every one of us is for the betterment of the world, not even just the body of Christ. So I think it's the spirit of an entrepreneur. I'll encourage us to go and listen to that, watch that video, The Secret of Self-Made Millionaires by Brian Tracy. It always blows my mind. I keep going back to it. Then there's a book I tried to read once at the beginning of the year, Jesus the Entrepreneur. I bought it from Lantana Ventures. I've read it over and over again, and it always blows my mind every year. I want to do more. And I think God in his infinite mercy has also noticed you have to, as you supply the gifting he gives to you, he gives you more assignment, So that's what
Thank
and
you.
I also want to tell us one more thing before I go.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
a firm believer, in this part of the world, Nigerians, or I say Africans, we overpamper our children and we don't allow them to grow economically. I'll advise us, when your child is done with college, your child is about 18, 19, in the Western world, they'll tell you they want to go and live by themselves. But in Nigeria, we tend to shield them. Let them know about investment. Let them know about entrepreneurship early. so that they become responsible themselves, so that we're not giving birth to parasites, we start giving birth to leaders and our world will become better. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Someone is asking what's the name of the Brian Tracy's book?
It's not a book, it's on YouTube. The Spirit of the Secrets of
Self-Made
Self-Made Millionaires. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
It's I think it's a podcast or some session he taught, so you can go watch it. Thank you very much. Please, House of Saviors, can we celebrate one of our own head of cooperative? Let's celebrate her. Thank you very much for your support. That's why, you know, if you're not a member of House of Saviors, go and subscribe now, or else when we start our cooperative, we will not involve you. Okay, thank you very much. I will hand over to my very own.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I didn't take the privilege for granted. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. God bless you. So I will hand over to Mosun. The next time you will see my face, I'll be back in North America. I can't wait.